Okay, we back. Well, I'm back. Now, let's see what it let me do here. Now, okay, there it is. All right, so let's see. Oh, that's just invite to watch. I think you have to request it again because it'll only let me add you in, but it'll only let me invite you to watch. Okay, let me message you. Okay. I'm trying to keep my cool right now. This is so aggravating. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, yes. I'm trying to keep my cool right now because I get when you try to I tell you, okay. Let me approve this. Let's see what happens this time. I tried to do it on. Oh, there you are.
Hi. They say what, the sixth time is a charm. That's okay.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I feel so bad, but okay.
Why?
You know why? Because and Lanita knows this. I'm a recovering perfectionist,
I understand.
and when things don't go smooth, I have a real hard time with that. So I'm trying to keep my cool right now.
Hey, if it's frustrating, it would be even more frustrating if you didn't have somebody who understands.
And
Okay.
and I have to admit, you are, and this is, ladies, for those of you that don't know, this is our first time meeting. I watched some of your lives and read your posts, and that's why I reached out to you because you seem to
Hmm.
be very warm, and I really, really, really appreciate that because sometimes people, from my experience,
Right.
they seem nice, they seem warm, but then when you work with them, it's kind of like a whole different thingamajig, and you kind of like, oh, okay, you know what I
Yeah, they'll
mean?
crucify you. Hmm.
Exactly. So I really, really appreciate, you doing this. 'Cause I know we're all busy, and I just appreciate you having such a nice, just a nice attitude, a nice, just attitude. Because unfortunately, I mean, I hate to say it, but not everybody is like that. But I really do appreciate that. Now, do you remember what? Do you remember where you were before we got cut off again, like we just did? Oh my God! Just don't know what to this is some extra stuff here today, y'all. I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's Mother's Day. I'm not sure
You
what's
know
going on.
what? It doesn't want us to be great. That's all that is. They don't want us to drop this knowledge, boo. But what I will say is this, is just that you have to be understanding when business. This is exactly how I felt in my business. My business was up and down, just like Facebook is right
Okay.
now for us. And you know what I had to do as a single mother who wanted and needed something to happen for her and her son? I kept trying over and over again, like we're gonna do today. Like it does not matter how many times we got to start over. It doesn't matter. We're gonna get this information out. We're gonna get it done, and we're gonna collect these gems. We're gonna drop them, and we're gonna just keep as many people as we can because the people who need to be here will show up. They will watch every one of these lives that is on our page. They will watch it, and they will say, you know what? They needed to put this information out. Just like I felt as a coach, I felt like I needed to. I had to get this information out. And so no matter what, I kept trying every time I failed. Every time that things did not go right for me, I didn't get enough money. I didn't get enough clients. I didn't get something. Guess what I did? I got up and I tried again. It is not easy at all to get up and try again. It's not, because many times that I fell, I didn't want to get back up. You know, I didn't. I cried many nights. I know I cried the entire year of 2008. Literally 365 days I cried. And I know what that feels like, you know, because of the stress that was in my life and the things that go on. I know what it feels like to have that moment to where you just feel like your entire life is done, you know? But that's when you say, why am I here? What am I doing?
Right.
My
What's my
purpose is
why?
much bigger than me, right? My
Hmm.
purpose is much bigger than me. What I'm giving and what I'm doing is much bigger than me. I am a mommy. That is much bigger than me, because there are a lot of women who cannot have children. There are a lot of women who can't get through these things. And because they can't get through these things, what do you think they're doing? They're giving up. And that's just something that's not an option when you're a mom. You know, that's not an option, especially a single mom. You can't give up. And so that's my mindset. That's one of the reasons why I'm so warm in this, because you're trying. You know what I mean? We're doing what we gotta do. It's not us at this moment. It's just a matter of how many times are we gonna fall and get it, and how many times are we gonna get back up to get it right.
You know what? And I didn't even think of it like that, but you're right. This is we're practicing what we preach right about now.
Absolutely. That resiliency, absolutely.
You know what? Okay, so you have the one son?
I do. And I have multiple blessings from my husband as well.
Okay. Now how old is your son?
My son is 11.
He's 11. Oh, mine is 8. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I know you mentioned about being homeless, and if you don't mind
Mhm.
sharing, how did how did that come up? I mean, how did that come about?
Hmm. Well, so when I attended college, you know, I moved out. I was excited because I'm older. I was older than all of my peers. I had been deployed already. I've been in the military 18 years.
18. Okay.
Yep. And I was older than all of my peers, and my peers were just like, you know, I loved it, but I was so used to being on my own, right? And so my roommate at the time, we and I had differences. She was pregnant, and so I was pregnant as well. And she chose to leave home, you know, to go home and take care of her, you know, she was getting ready to have a newborn. Her daughter is, you know, around the same age as my son. And I depleted all of my savings and my checking, and I didn't have any more. And so I was, sooner or later, I was eventually evicted. I could not withstand the job that I had let me go, because they would not allow me to sit down, you know, being on my feet. Although I had an amazing pregnancy with my son, but they were just like, listen, we can't let you sit down, because if you want to work, you got to work like the rest of everybody else. And it was like, okay. And so, yeah, I didn't want to drop out of college. I was going into my senior year. And so until I was able to save up enough money for a deposit, I got I was evicted out of my apartment. I put all of my stuff in storage, and I slept in my Dodge Neon right in the parking lot of my school. I
Okay.
had a food stamp card that I applied for, that I utilized for my food. And after I did that, I took a shower at the gym that I was a member of, that I kept, and I washed my clothes at the laundromat. Like,
All right. Okay. You made it happen. Wow. I mean, that's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Now, I know you said you've been in the military for 18 years. Your son is
yes,
11. I was
yes.
going to ask you, so how old is your business? When did you officially start? Well, I know you started a few times. When did you start the first time?
2011,
Okay.
2010 going on 2011. Yeah, I was
Okay.
entering from December into January. So the birth is February 2011.
Okay. And yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, you have a wealth of I saw in your bio the undergraduate degree in biology,
Hmm.
master's in sports medicine.
Sports and health science with a minor in
Okay.
exercise psychology. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then are you in a PhD program now?
I am
Or
already completed with all of my
okay.
doctoral studies for my doctorate in psychology. And right now I'm working on the applied doctoral project. So I'm a doctoral candidate. Yes.
Okay. Hey, all right. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay, I'm trying to see. I have to admit, I got a little thrown off
That's okay.
because of the okay, because I definitely want you to, I had a few more questions, but I definitely want you to be able to get into your topic, talk a little bit about what's going on, and then I guess we can go back because I like to end on asking you two things. So I'm gonna just throw these questions out there. We'll put this at the end, ladies. I always like to ask, how do you practice good self care?
Okay.
And I always like to ask, what advice would you give to a younger, I say either a younger version of yourself or another, young woman that's just starting out, maybe, just finished high school, just
Hmm.
started college, something somewhere along those lines around that age range. Like what sort of
Okay.
advice would you give? So we'll go back to that. Because like I said, I want to make sure that we're able to touch on, for you to talk a little bit about your topic and segue into some of the different exciting things that you have going on now.
Okay, absolutely. That's not a problem.
Okay. You're
Like, this
up.
is gonna be fun. This is fun. So, okay, so our topic today is all about being a single mother, a business owner who suffers with mental health issues. All right. So during this time of being a single mom, of going through the things that I did, I suffer with depression often. The self-sabotage, saying I'm not good enough, not understanding my value, putting myself in a hole, in a rabbit hole, and saying I can't, and I couldn't. Um, and when I talk about this with the intent to get people to understand that one, mental health is very, very real and alive in our community. I used to, before I even dealt with this at all, was I used to use it, oh my God, I'm super depressed. And my mom would say, why? Oh, because I made a D on my grade on, on my paper at school. And she's like, you're not depressed, you're just upset about it, and it used to be used as a common term. I'm depressed. I've got anxiety over these things, but now it's so real to the point that now depression is taking so many of our lives because we're not addressing it. It is a silent conversation in our community where now, me being that once single mother, that now business owner who still lives with that daily, who's now having that loud conversation about it. um and so it's a matter of one, of learning of how to understand where you are and that you are suffering from something, and that it's okay to suffer from something. It's okay to deal with these problems. It's okay for you to not be okay. And as a single mom, I put myself on the back burner. I put myself on the back burner because my mind was focused on making sure I could feed my son. That is one of the scariest moments. If any of you are out there who are mothers and are tuning in, what is the one scary thing that you feel when it comes to your children? I know we all going to say that we're them not being here, but how about not feeding them? That was scary for me, is not being able to put food on the table for him. And don't get me wrong, I have amazing parents, because a lot of people ask me this question: where were your parents? My parents lived in a different state. And my father, being military, he said, hey, listen, you do your best. You give it all you got and you don't ever quit. And so you don't come ask me until you've exhausted all of your resources. That means that you've tried every avenue that you've pushed. And at the time when I went through all of these things, I had not tried all my resources. The only thing that I was giving myself was excuses. I was giving myself excuses of why I couldn't find, why I didn't find, and why I shouldn't find. I was looking for that external validation, looking for somebody to help me and understand, and somebody to feel sorry for me. No, I had to show up for me. And so when we start talking about, my parents, that's one of the things. They were in a different state and so well taking care of my son. After I had my baby, I sent him down to, then while I got everything together in Virginia. They said, as long as you take care of him, we are good. And they took care of him great. He turned out to be an amazing man. And so I was able to really see what solid ground felt like in me standing up for me, and stop feeling sorry for myself, because that's one of the things as a single mom you cannot. And as a business owner, if you're going to be in business, you can't feel sorry for yourself, because again, your clients are not going to want to hear those excuses. Your clients are not going to want to hear, oh, I'm sorry. No, if I paid for a service, you show up regardless of what's happening in your life. And so when we talk about that depression aspect of my life, it influenced the way I operated my business, and it also influenced the way that I operated with my son, and it affected both relationships. I lost clients. I was a really bad business owner because I couldn't function. I didn't know how to balance those things, right?
Okay.
This is way before I got a coach. This was way before things started to happen, really started to grow for me. And I tell people all the time that you've got to address the issues as they come, because if you don't, you're going to struggle. You're going to suffer, and you cannot suffer in silence. You can't. It's just one of those conversations that you can't have silently. Um, and I'm currently a part of a massive, the very first mental health tour that is going on right now. The first stop is going to be in Atlanta, which I am a part of. It is going to be May 25th. I am super excited. It is being hosted by Stronger Than My Struggles, which is owned and operated by Melanie Hill. If you have not heard her story, she too suffers with depression and has an amazing testimony to show for how she deals with every day and her mental illness. And she suffers from quite a few, and some that are a little bit more extreme than mine. And so to be a part of this and now making this a conversation, this is something that I really want everybody in Atlanta to know about and to hear about, as this is a movement, and then mothers who are facing this and cannot get themselves unstuck. You know what I mean? Because it's like having a conversation with yourself. I can't do this. I can't do this. But I'm going to tell you something. Can't and couldn't. The two root words is can and could. That are the two things that you always have to remember, that I can and that I could. That means that change begins with you. That goes back to, I think, maybe the second time we tried this thing, where I told you that my motto for uncovering the new you is change begins with you. And we start talking about that element, that just because you're single, just because that you're going through, and just because you don't have, does not mean that you cannot and that you could not. It is a matter of you wanting to change your circumstances. Once you change your way, your outlook on success, these are how I meshed being a mom at the time, single, being a business owner, and then also being myself and being that authentically me. I meshed those three by understanding that I had to change my mind to change my circumstances. And so that's really something amazing that I bring to the entrepreneurial mindset and the business owner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who wants to be a change agent and how to impact their community.
So first and foremost, I think this is the reason I had shared earlier that I was really excited about this topic, is because I think that within the African American community,
Yes,
especially, there is a lot of I don't really know if denial is the best word, but
it is.
okay, so let's say that there's a
Let's
lot of
be
denial.
authentic. Let's be
Okay, right,
authentic.
keep
We
it
know that
real,
people
right?
will deny it. Yes.
Just deny it,
Mm-hmm.
from anxiety, depression, and even
Mm-hmm.
psychosis.
Yep.
There's a lot of denial, and I think as African American women, I think we have a tendency to not want to ask for help, or like
Yep.
maybe see it as kind of like a sign of weakness to say, I need to just sit down somewhere, or I need to practice some self-care, or I'm not okay. Just as simple
Right.
as that. I'm not okay. I need some help. You know, and I think we just get so used to going and going and going, and so used to making sure that everybody else is taken care of,
Right.
that it even further compounds it. Either, because sometimes somebody could be clinically depressed, or maybe just situational. But
Mm-hmm.
nonetheless, if you are in denial, or you don't replenish yourself, or like you said, really really focus on your mindset, it can just lay you out. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
can just really you'll just be going through the motions. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Just literally going through the motions, and that's not good for you. It's not good
No.
for your child. You know, just it's just not good. It's going to have an impact on you physically as well. You know, I would
Yes.
say mentally, physically, and spiritually, but
Absolutely.
obviously mentally, but physically and spiritually, it's going to have an impact on you. So I think it's so important just to actually have this conversation about it. You know,
Yes.
because so many of us, like you mentioned earlier, just suffer in silence. You know, and a lot of times um, utilize other maybe not so healthy ways to deal with
Yep.
it. You
Yep,
know.
they use the drugs, they use food, and this is one of the reasons of why I got more into life coaching than training, because a lot of my clients were divorced. A lot of my clients had or were dealing or were trying to combat issues that they had not solved, meaning childhood issues, meaning lack of confidence in maybe their work, lack of confidence in themselves and being able to show up. Like this, it was becoming a repetitive thing. And I started to, uh-oh, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay,
Can you
just
see
make
me?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're frozen on my end, but I saw you still and I'm like, oh
Okay.
God, what's getting
I
ready to
know.
happen? Like, like, oh,
Look,
wait,
because I
wait,
don't even want to touch it. I see a couple people join, but I'm like, y'all, I don't even want to touch it. Okay. That's why they want to touch it. Okay, for those of you that may have just joined, we've been having a little bit of a issue here in terms of Facebook keeps kind of kicking us out. That's why
see,
okay, yeah. See, that's why I said I didn't
what
even want to touch it because I saw a
See,
couple more people
what did
join.
I say? I knew it. But see, this is one of the this is one of the reasons why, again, I am so adamant about it, because again, when I started to see these connections, I said, listen, I'm not giving myself an excuse of why I can't show up for me, why I can't show up for uncovering the new you, and why I can't show up for my now husband. If you continue to give yourselves excuses of why you can't, you will never. And that's one of the things is I tell my clients is don't ask for things that you're not willing to work for. And that means being a business owner. Don't ask to be a business owner. Don't want to be a business owner if you cannot be consistent and show up for the clients that you serve. And
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like mentally, when I start getting in that self-sabotage aspect, when I start getting in that factor of being down because my numbers
Mm-hmm.
are not up, or that I'm not getting any sales, I'm not getting any clients, do you know I am still showing up? I'm still online
Mm-hmm.
doing my thing that I need to do. I'm still researching, I'm still putting things together. Like, I'm not stopping, because I know it's much bigger than social media, right? But my purpose is much bigger than me. It's global. I know it's a global problem, it's a global process. And however, remember the two things that I said: remain coachable and remain willing to educate your audience. So if you are learning from your audience about what they need, you continue to educate them on why you can help them. And that is with every business, that is with every aspect of being a business owner, and then two, it's just like, how many excuses are you going to give yourself? Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I have this. Well, you obviously don't want to work with the public. And I say that because they cause you to be depressed and frustrated. However, it's a matter on how you your perspective of that.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the things that people do and say, you still have to show up for your business. You have to show up for you. Regardless of the things people say, the things people do, we cannot change others. However, we can help them to see there may be a need or room for change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we were talking. Let me just recap a couple of things. Ladies, thank you so much for joining. I know a couple of people have joined. Just with all the technical difficulty, I'm actually a little hesitant even typing comments in and touching it. So I don't want you to feel ignored, but we'll definitely go back and answer them, answer your questions and so forth. Thank you so much. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of say what we were talking about before we got disconnected last time. We were talking about breaking that silence, just suffering mental illness, such as like depression and anxiety. And I just mentioned those because those are very, very common amongst us
Mhm.
as African American women, and can oftentimes keep us on a roller coaster, in terms of being inconsistent, like she mentioned
Mhm.
just a minute ago. And so we were talking about that, about breaking the silence. And then I wanted to say, also too, I think it's important to acknowledge, and I just recently started really thinking about this in my last two guests that I interviewed, is that setting an example for our
Yes.
children, about not giving up, right? About no matter how many times you fall, because it's gonna happen, right? And
Yes.
not even just with business, just in life in general, right?
Yes.
That you can fall 7 times, get up 8. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
it's a process. But the thing of it is, you begin, like you said, once you become like more in tune with yourself, more
Hmm.
self growth, more insight, you begin to build your self confidence. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Absolutely.
you I always say, get comfortable being outside of your comfort zone. Like, this is totally outside of my comfort zone today. All of this tech stuff. Like, I tried, Facebook Live through Zoom, and, all of that, right? I had my whole mix of emotions, right, that I went through. But the thing of it is, I had to, like you said, I had to tell myself, listen, we gonna do this.
Yep.
This is not the first time this has happened. It's not gonna be the last time. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? And I
Hmm.
kind of had to bring myself back, because I was unraveling there for a minute.
I noticed.
Y'all may not have known it, but I was over here unraveling. I was starting to sweat. I was like, oh my God. But the thing of it is, we kept doing it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? We kept doing it. And don't the message or the takeaway is, don't give up.
Yep.
What you see a lot of times on social media, and I always have to go back to this, because I know I feel it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. We being open, we being honest. Sometimes I
Yep.
look and I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, this person's like, oh, I'm over here. I just landed my seventh, I don't know, $10,000 client, and I'm speaking over here at this event. I'm speaking over there, and sometimes it's easy to be like, dang, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I need to do something to be more like this person. Or maybe I need to start doing this. They've been doing that, and it seems to be working for them. You know what I mean? But then you kind of have to center yourself. And like how you mentioned earlier, you have to know yourself and what works for you. Like, I'm a social worker, right? So I love talking to people. I like asking questions. A lot of people say we nosy, but I don't look at it like that. I'm curious, and I like
Right.
to ask questions. So this works for me. I'm not really much of a writer, so I don't blog, and that's okay. You know what I mean? And it's like, the more you do it, like, you kind of stand in your authenticity and what feels right for you. You know what I mean? Like, I always have to go back to that, like, what feels good to me, and what's my why? What's my reason for doing it? I always
Mhm.
have to go back to that. And
So
things
I'm
may
going to tell
seem
you,
challenging,
it
right?
is.
But we just gonna keep going. So I just kind of wanted to piggyback on that and put that out there, because we started talking about the mental illness and people just suffering in silence. And then how
So,
you talked about mindset.
hmm so
Mindset.
I want to interrupt you. I don't do interruption
Go.
normally because this is your show, but I want you to get uncomfortable because when I started to stay comfortable, when I started to say what I was comfortable with doing is why I wasn't making any money. You've got to be uncomfortable each and every day of your business. I don't care as a social worker because what feels good may not be good for you. It
Mm.
may not be. Don't say you're not a writer. I said that, and I have sold over 275 copies of my book. Honey, I was
Mm.
not a writer. But my book coach said to me, Nisa, you have a story, you have a testimony, you have experience, put it in a book form because people will buy it and read it, those who need it. You may be giving out information that can save someone's life. So don't say what you won't do. That might be your craft, that might be your perfection, that might be your avenue to your success and gaining more clientele and gaining more audience and gaining more people to join your lives. You have no idea about what blogging can do. There's people who are making 10, 15, $20,000 off of
Just by
blog
blog.
daily, right? And the thing is it's a matter of you being uncomfortable and doing it. And
Right.
so I don't ever want to hear you say I'm comfortable. I don't, you know what I mean? Because I understand being comfortable, but that's where we forget that being uncomfortable, no, it doesn't feel good, but sometimes it's what we need. That's
Right.
what we need to do, is to get out of our comfort zone, get out of that box, step out of our own way. Because when we do things that we're comfortable, we're stagnant, we're still. No, you were not meant to stay still, honey. The car has four wheels. You've got to push the gas and you've got to go. You cannot be stagnant when you're a business owner. You've got to think 10 steps ahead about what's next and how you're going to continue to bring all of this great income into your business and how many ways. You know, I wrote myself $1 million check. And I wrote myself $1 million check December 31st. And the only way that I can do that is by having several streams of income. I am not a writer, but I wrote my book. I am not a blogger. However, I have a blog. I've created my own website. I've done so many other things out there that I have no knowledge of, but you know what? YouTube is amazing. Right? You hear me? YouTube is amazing, and following the guidelines. I don't compare myself to anybody else, because I understand that no one has my same testimony. No one has my same steps that took me to where I am, what dropped me. They don't have the same failures. We may have things alike, but I will never compare myself, because I used to fall into that too. But when my coach said, get out of your comfort zone, stop doing things that are comfortable for you, and you want to be that millionaire, you've got to get uncomfortable. And that means it doesn't matter how many times you tell your story. Doesn't matter how many times you blog and nobody reads it. Doesn't matter how many times you get up here and you try live. If you got 20 different lives on your social media, and one day those who need it will listen.
Yeah.
So get uncomfortable now in your position. If you got to position yourself in purpose, and you've got a reason for why you're a social worker, why you are a podcaster, and this is your time. You've got to get uncomfortable, and I'm going to make you very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I didn't come here just to motivate. I come to be a part of that breakthrough. Because when I said we talking about clients and wanting clients, you did this. And you did, yes, I need clients. That is how. Get uncomfortable.
Well, let me just clarify that a little bit. I don't mean to stay inside of your comfort zone. When I say what feels good to you, I
Yes.
mean that when we look at other entrepreneurs and we see
Uh-huh.
that, oh, they're doing this and they seem to be making it, maybe we need to do that. I meant in that respect, like knowing like who you are and what feels good to you. Because I know, like going into business for myself, right? Like working for
Hold on.
agencies and working for other people, I'm doing what I'm growing their vision. I'm doing what they
Oh,
want me
yeah.
to do, how they see it planned out. So that's
I
what I mean
like
when
it.
I say